call the signatures, or the paper that goes inside your in your book. So I have got myself several signatures, and I will show you them. I have taken, this was one of the Zentangle art pieces that I did, so it's one of my signatures. And then I have a piece of scrapbook paper, some brown paper, a piece of black, or it could be dark gray, I think it's black, another white cardstock, mostly of it's cardstock, and I have folded it in half, and then I'm clamping it with a big clamp, because now I'm going to mark the center and I am going to punch holes. So I'm coming back here to my template, and I'm taking it off, and I am going to punch the holes down the center. So I am going to line this up, and I can line it so it's right down the center fold. So I'm going to use that center of that to mark my book pages. So I want to find where is the center, that fold that's right there in the center. It might be easier for me to see it on this side. So there it is, and I'm going to line this up, and because I have holes punched in it, I can mark where I'm going to punch my holes. There is where I am going to punch my holes. So you can see that I've got it marked. Now, you can take your awl, your bookbinding awl, and you can punch the holes. Or I'm a little obsessed with punches, and I have this big crocodile too, and it punches the best holes. You can adjust it, and it will do a 1/8 inch hole or a 3/16 inch hole. I'm gonna put it so it's on the 1/8. We can, come on the 1/8 inch hole, and that's going to be, you can see where it's coming down. So I love this because I can get this whole book all the way back into the spine. So now I'm going to punch those holes. How many pages are in this? So there I have it. Now I have punched through the center, but this will be a center fold. So when you come in my book, you open it up, this will be the center, one of the center folds. And there we have it. And I'm going to just clip this together like this for the meantime. And I'm going to do my next one. This is my next one, and I know brown is a little bit hard to see. I've been told that before, but I have, this one I have a tangle on both sides. Most of them are blank so that I can work. There's another piece of paper from scrapbooking. And a couple of pieces of cardstock. I like cardstock. There's another piece. This was a full sheet. So now I'm going to just mark this one. And I'm going to mark in that center piece. I'm going to take my template. I'm going to put it in the center of my book. And there I've marked them. This might be a little bit harder to see. Okay, I'm going to do them just a little bit bigger because of the tangling on here. I probably should have done a different color. I could do it on the other side, but we're going to do it from this front side. Oh, and I was going to show you how many pages. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 pages in this book and in this signature. So each signature has 8 pages, and that meaning this book will have quite a few pages for me to put my tangles and do my art journaling, put pockets. And right there I punched it on one of the dots, so you can see a little easier on this side. There's 2 very close together, but it will be okay. We kind of want to keep our books clamped together so that we have that same, and we will have 3 signatures in this book. So here's my last one, and I'm going to set that aside so I can sew my first signature in to the book. And that's what those pieces are called signatures. And they have a history behind them. When books were first printed, they were printed at a printing press, on the printing press, and then taken to the bookbinder. And the bookbinder would assemble the pages that they wanted in the order they wanted them, and they would sign each page A, B, A, A1, and so forth, so that they had their pages all marked. And then they would put them in the book, sew them into the book on the binding. Hence, that's where they were each signed, so that's where they got the word signature. Okay, this particular one, I'm going to start and work my way from the outside in. Now, I have to be careful when I put my signatures in because I have ones that will make a difference if they're upside down. So I had several that had words on them. So I had to make sure they were upright. So now I'm going to get my bookbinding kit down again. I just did an old shoebox. I'll have to show you this because I just got an old cigar box, not a shoebox, a cigar box to put my different things in that I needed. I have eyelets in this little antique wire heart. Oh, they kind of spilled out, and so I had to find somebody to put them in here. So I have my little eyelets that I use, not always in bookbinding, but I kept them in here because that was a good place to keep them. So I'm going to get my thread out, and I'm going to get one of my needles out. And you can see I have, this one's already threaded because I sewed a book not too long ago. But there's not enough thread on this book, on this to sew this. What you need to do your book is you need to measure your book so you have 6 times the amount. See, that's only 4 times the amount of the book. So I'm going to take this off. I will probably save that. And so I will measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 times the length of the book so you can get it sewn in well. We're going to do a double sewing in here. Hope this video isn't too long for you. I may have to cut it down a little and see. So then I thread my needle, and I'm only going to sew single thread, but I don't like that long of a tail, so I work it down here. So now I'm going to take my spine that I'm going to glue in, and I am looking to see which. I'm going to put this on in the very back of the book. So here it is, my spine, and I'm going to go through my top hole and through my signatures and pull my thread up. And I want to leave a nice sized tail, and I'm terrible about pulling my tail through, so I'm going to secure it down on my paper clip so that I don't pull it all the way through. This will just remind me. So there I have my first hole. Then I'm going to skip over and do my second hole to find the, there it is. The first little ones are kind of tricky. And find my second hole. And with that long piece of long thread, it's a little tricky. And there we have our first stitch. Then go to the next one. So you're just going to do a running stitch. Mine keeps catching on my library, on my table's little knob end that goes in my drawer. I'm glad I will be covering up the backside. Every time I look at that, I think, wow, you did stab you. And with those holes already poked through your book or punched, it makes it so much easier to stitch. I've tried doing them where I didn't punch holes, and it was extremely hard to stitch the book. We just want to make sure that we pull those threads tight. And here we are at the end of the book. You're thinking, oh my gosh, this was, and I have to turn it over so I can see my hole. And there's the end of, we're at the end. Now we're going to go back up, and so it's going to make another stitch. So I'm going to go back up, and it's going to fill in all of those spaces. You can see it on this side. I'm going to come back up here. I don't go around the outside edge. I start coming right back up before I go to the outside edge. Then poke it down in. This time it's much easier because they've already kind of lined up, and you can poke them right through where you went before. And I have so many pieces of Zentangle art that I would like to keep, but I don't want them framed, and I just don't have enough wall space for everything. Okay, here we are at the top. Again, I'm going back through. You can see all those. It's kind of caught around my clip. At this point, I can take off the clip because the pages are secure. Now I'm going to go back down through it again the same time and then back up so that I have it double stitched. I just like that feeling of knowing my book is well stitched together. And so you'll have 2 threads on each hole. And then I am going to come right here, and I am going to tie these in a knot. Just pull it tight. And if you have somebody to help you pull it tight, that's great. But it's going to be glued underneath, so it's really not going to be a problem with it not being glued. Now we have the first signature sewn onto our backing. Now I just have to sew the other 2 signatures. This one's punched, and I haven't punched the last one, into place. Now the trick here is to make sure that I have, if I have any writing in here, that I have the signature going the correct way. So I'm just going to check to see if none of my pages have any writing on them, only this one. So now I'm getting ready to sew in my second signature, and it's going to go right down here, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I am going to sew the next 2 in, and then I'll come back and show you how you put it into your book. Voila! How cool is that? Thanks for watching. So I've gotten to the first hole, and now I'm doing the very center one, and I'll tell you, having the holes punched big is so much easier. And I'm going to show you that spot that I messed up on. When I punched a hole that wasn't supposed to be there. Let's see if I can. Now I was going to tell you how much easier this was. There it goes. So there is my hole that wasn't supposed to be there. I don't think you can really see it. I'm going to scan in, and the brown pages are really hard to see, but it's right. You can kind of see a little white dot. That's the hole. Oh no, I think this is the hole that wasn't supposed to be there. So I'm going to go back out through there. That's the only problem with punching a hole in the wrong spot, is you don't know which spot is really the wrong spot. So there we go. Now we're in the right spot. And so we pull that thread down. Then I'm going to come to the next one, and it's going to come through. And you can see it's a little struggle, but if the holes were not bigger, it would be very, very difficult. So that's why when you punch your holes, whether you use a punch or a bookbinding awl, you want to make sure that you punch that all the way through to the biggest part of it that you can get, so that you get a good size hole. I've come all the way back, and I'm ready to tie my knot. So I'm going to tie my knot. I tie a square knot. I usually just do one square knot. I tie it down and then clip off my extra threads. And now I only have the one signature to put in the book, and it will be the first of my book. And you can see, I find that if I clamp all the signatures together as I go, it kind of keeps them out of the way. And you can see right here that the signatures are together. See how they are on this end. They look good on this end too. So one more set, and then I will show the video of how I glue all this together into my book and cover this part of the book. Thanks again for watching. I'm excited about this project. Hopefully I'll get a camera that's a little easier for us as we start to put our Zentangles in here, making pockets and tucks and just different fun things to go inside for our Zentangles. And I am totally excited about this project and what we can have when we're finished. So thanks again for watching, and have a great day.